If you feel limited by your color palette or aren't sure what to use, it gets really fun if you start right here. Today we'll show you how to grow your Felty color palette so you can jump into your next project and the next with confidence, ease, and fun. We are working with just 6 colors, and we're going to show you how to turn these colors into a beautiful range of hues from light to dark with our one-to-one blending method. In addition, we'll show you how to put those into your fiber reference library so that you can return to these colors again and again to have great success in your projects. Plus, we'll tack on a color study doing this Pear to show you how to use it. Grab the handout in the episode notes below, and that will introduce you to our fiber reference library system, plus you'll get some notes for doing today's color study. We have here chartreuse, sage, grass, sprout, evergreen, and mallard. This is our Field Day Studio pack, and the colors may vary from time to time, but we do our best to give you a range from light to dark so that you have a nice breath when you sit down and you need some greens. For this pack and any of the supplies we're using today, you can get a link in the episode notes below. We're going to start by blending these 2 colors and really follow this method for any colors that you have or anything you want to try. For today, we're going to use a palm size sample because we're going to be dividing again and again. So just grab off a tuft and don't worry about using up too much of your fiber. I used very little to blend out this entire pack. We go with a 1-to-1. I often also say 50-50, same thing. We're going to split them a little bit so that we build a multi-layer stack varying the colors. We're using batting. This pack could have Berkshire and Maori both in it. It doesn't matter if you're working with MC1 or other fibers or even long fibers. You can do very similarly. And we're just going to pull them apart gently and restack them, pull them apart gently and restack them. From time to time, I like to rotate it, and you can stop if you like a really mottled blend. And if you want it more homogeneous, you can continue blending. Notice how it's looking, and what's fun when you get these mottled blends is when you go to felt, whether you're wet felting or needle felting, you can pick out little parts that you like. Pull them apart slowly, pay attention to what's happening, and do your best to try not to rip the fibers apart. This really is a fun process, and hand blending is a great way to go. 1, for making these little samples that we're going to put in our fiber reference library, 2, for little test swatches, or 3, for very small projects. And see that little clump? Sometimes I'll just leave it because I might want to dive in when I'm working with this blend and get just a little concentrated bit like that. They can be very fun. So you can get a pretty good blend by hand, and you can mix it up pretty well. And this is kind of the amount of time it takes to get a nice little blend, and you can see how mottled it is or isn't. It's up to you how far you want to take it. We like to start with a 50-50, and then we're going to go both lighter and darker from this blend, but it's a great starting point. Every time you do a blend is a 1-to-1 ratio, and this becomes our base blend. So this is an example of a modeled version of our base blend. Let's look at a more homogeneous version of our base blend. And for that, we're going to use our small hand carders. This is a very fast way to do your blends, and they're super easy to use, and they're very affordable too. We just put a little bit on the teeth, and notice that I took a little bit of my hand blend. You can pre-blend or not, it's up to you. We scrape from the bottom and work our way up towards the top of the paddle. I'm giving a slight flick so that I don't cause the fibers to fold down on themselves. I don't want them to felt, I just want them to blend together. And it really is this fast to get a beautiful blend with the carders. You can keep going if you like, or you can stop at any point that you're happy with the blend. I pulled off a little bit just so you can see. Notice I flick it up when I come back to the paddle, and then I just pull through. We're not grating the teeth together, it's just a little flick and drag. Here, showing you the flick again. This helps me grab onto the fibers without folding them down on the bed that I'm holding in my left hand. And this is an example of a wonderful homogeneous blend made with our mini hand carders. I love working with them, and I love blending by hand also. So just by doing this, we've created a new color, and I'm going to be using a lot of this in my Pear, but you can see what we've done just by blending two colors in a 1-to-1 ratio. This is a great blend, and it's a lot more valuable if we remember what it is and we have a way to refer back to it. So here comes the building of our fiber reference library. We're using cardstock and this 1-inch, I think it is, circle cutter, and I'm punching out these cardstock circles. You're going to need a lot, even for this little 6-pack, and you're going to find them so valuable. We've shown other methods in the past, but I came up with this way and wanting to teach you how to do a color study for a particular subject. So I cut out all these little squares and I name the blends as soon as they're made so that I can put them together. And this system does go a little bit further, so hang with me here. We are going to take a pinch of this 1-to-1 blend, and notice I took some from each, so I have a nice good little mix. Get yourself a nice little puff and make it into a bit of a round ball. And then we're going to staple it to the chip to hold it together. Now, if you like to, you can then needle felt it to make it a little bit prettier of a shape. And I do this by sandwiching it between another circle to protect your fingers. So just get it as tidy as you want to. And what we have at the end, once we get this all done, is a beautiful reference chip. I refer to it as a chip or a swatch, and it's so wonderful because now we have a reference for the blend that we made. But what do we do with all the parts? I like to save them in a little bag along with the blend that we made. We're going to be using these in our Pear study at the end, so it's really helpful, I found, if you know what you have. And we are going to take these blends further, but once you make your base blends, this is the next step. Each one gets a little reference swatch, and it's going to go into a labeled bag with the name of the blend on it. This is going to give us a system so we can always come back to this color over and over. And what I realized as a result of doing this is that it also solves the mystery bits. When you get done with the project, very often you have all these bits and pieces and you don't know what to do with them. This way, if you recall or can reference what the blends were, you can tuck them right back into the blend. Now, this is only the base blend, but what a valuable resource you have, because the base blend is always your starting point. Well, you have the solid and your solid, but your base blend becomes the starter blend for any future values that we want to create. We put them all together and both are labeled so that you don't get lost as you work with them. And doing this with just the 6-pack, you can grab the reference sheet down below and see all of the blends you can make. This is such an amazing way to kick off your fiber reference library by turning one single 6-color studio pack into a huge range of colors. I don't know whether it took me 1 or 2 evenings to do, but I want to tell you that it was so fun to build out the base colors and even the next colors that I'm going to show you so that you have a quick grab, and they really become powerful when you use them for a color study. Like, imagine the greens. You can do the Pear with me at the end, and you can get a free diagram along with the handout. Follow the episode link. It might be a tree, it might be a field, it might be hills. But look at all these beautiful colors. This is a great start to a fiber reference library, and we're going to show you how to take it even further. So you learned how to do the base blends, and you've learned how to do the storage so that you can start your fiber reference library. But now we're going to take it even further, and I'm just calling this value expansion. Divide your blend into 3 and tuck your base blend back into your bag. Now we're going to reblend these other 2 tufts that we have here of the base blend. You're going to blend one 50-50 with the darkest shade, and you're going to blend one 50-50 with the lighter shade of the blend. You can use the same method or different methods, just blending by hand or using the hand carders. Immediately, you are going to get more hues from the same colors. And in this way, you can nudge your color palette offerings right away so that you can have quick grabs, and we'll look at how you use those. You don't have to be overly sophisticated. I do like the hand cards for this because it makes really short work of it. And I know I've already demonstrated that, but you can see this doesn't have to take a long time. And I personally find it super satisfying. One unexpected bonus from blending up this greens back into all of these hues has been as I drive around, it's springtime now as I've created this. And so things that were dead are coming back to life. I'm seeing the colors that I've blended in the hills and in the prairies. I even stopped to take a picture the other day going, I made that color, or I know how I would try to achieve a particular color now that I've made all of these reference packs. They're really awesome. I've never lacked confidence in blending, but this seems to make it easy because it's more like a recipe that we can come back to. These blends may not look vastly different for you, but when you're sitting down to work on a picture and you need something a little lighter or a little darker, you can have it as quick as a grab because you have a little packet, and I'm going to tuck all of these into the bags. Let's get started with this Pear study. The light's going to be coming from the left and the dark is going to be on the right. And this is how I use the color swatches or the color chips, is I pick them from the packs and choose the ones I think I want. And I want this to look very painterly and very modeled. And the bulk of what I'm going to use are the medium and the dark blends that we created together. And I just kind of position them where I think I want them on the pear so that it helps me get going quickly. Now this blend right here is, I think, grass and chartreuse, which might seem odd, like you wouldn't use it, but that's the base blend. And I want the lightest value of that color expansion that we did on the highlighted side. So you might not have think to start there, but because we did the color expansion, now I have a blend I wouldn't even have thought of. And then this dark green is going to be the darkest point down below. To start my color study of my Pear, I'm going to needle felt in the almost darkest greens to start, which is where the stem meets the pear, and then along the very bottom I have the darkest green, and the second darkest green is sitting right on top of that. I just want to get those in place as an anchor, and now I'm going to build this pear as easily as grabbing tufts of fiber. The whole thing is going to be built by just layering tufts. The key is not to follow me, but to make your own pear, maybe do your own still life with pear photo and stack your colors up, maybe look at somebody else's pear and try and model it with layering your colors. This is how I felted from way back when, even with wet felting, is just piling colors on, but I never remade all of the blends to this level of I don't want to say sophistication, but expansion as I did with these 6 colors. Layering them is so fun, and you can see it come together. So my encouragement is to create a wonderful pile of layering and create really your base layer before needle felting it. It's this simple and you don't have to overthink it, but I did put in the lights, and then in some cases I would come back and layer that again. So we went from dark to medium to light, and there are different places where light reflects on a pear because of its shape, which I thought made it a really fun subject to play with the greens. And that's why we call this a Color Lab Greens. Our hope is, one, that you'll try this method, maybe not only for your own pear. I started it with an idea of doing trees, and the pear seemed an easier thing for quick conveyance, but I have used the same process in a tree following making all of these blends. And maybe you want to do this with your blues or browns or berries. And our hope is that we'll do more color studies in the future. But what I want to show you is just how liberating it is if you start with something as simple as 6 colors and blending those colors to create base colors of a 1-to-1 ratio, and then expand those by blending it 1-to-1 with your darkest and 1-to-1 with your lightest. If you create these little chips and these little grab bags, you can think about how you might want to approach a landscape you're working on or an oceanscape you're working on without having to do the whole picture first. You can make a little color study and watch how quickly it comes together, and even make notes of what you liked or what worked best for you. We are moving kind of fast through this pear, and again, the idea isn't to teach you how to needle felt a pear, but to show you how easy and fast it is to get moving. I put in my little stem because it just helped bring my pear to life. It's like when you put eyes on a portrait, that's when you know it's really being born. And after this, I only added like a few colors on top. I got everything needle felted down so that it was very nice and smooth, and you see the main color swatches that I've used here, some solids and some blends. And then after that, we went in and I added the, final highlights and little bright spots on the pear, and then the darkest along the side as well. So I wanted that right side to be the darkest area. We have many tutorials where we show you how to needle felt and how to get clean lines. Over here on the right, I'm just drafting a very, very thin line to make it look a little more crisp along the furthest most edge of that pear. And then once I was all done, I thought he just needed a little bit of shadow, and these grays came from another studio pack that we have. So it did not come from the greens pack, but it seemed to make my picture a little more complete. I really hope you'll give this process a try. It's really helpful. You're not guessing. Now you've tested colors. It makes it easier. It helps you get more consistent results and can help you tackle even more complex subjects with a little more confidence. Grab today's handout via the episode link below, and we look forward to seeing what you make with your color study. If you would like more needle felting tips, check out this next video right here.